everyone, it's Chris Wacker, aka Wackaroni, and I'm here to do a tribute video to Akira Toriyama. Many of you know that he passed recently, the beginning of March 2024. As you can tell, I'm a huge fan, and he's impacted my life in a huge way, and I'd like to talk about that a little bit. For those of you who don't know, Akira Toriyama was the creator of Dragon Ball, which is, my big thing. It's been a big part of my life for the majority of my life, honestly. I think I started watching it in middle school, and I still watch it today. They still come out with new stuff, and I still support it. I've been a collector for a long time. I like collecting things, and this became my big new collecting thing. Toriyama didn't just create Dragon Ball. He created many other mangas, comics, and was a big influence on a lot of different other series. His work inspired lots of video games and other TV shows. I'm not going to get so far in depth into his life. You might as well just look at Wikipedia if you want to see everything that he's done and about his life. But I do know that he created Dr. Slump and Sandland and Dragon Boy, which eventually became Dragon Ball, I found out recently. His influence on popular culture, not just anime and comics, have been, it's pretty well known and pretty obvious. And even just recently, some of the people that have been influenced him came out and paid their respects and said how much they were influenced by him, including the creators of Naruto and One Piece and many others. They were all influenced in some way, and not just anime. It was even American cartoons were influenced, and there's lots of nods to his work. Even the people that made that terrible Dragon Ball Evolution live action movie, the lead actor Justin Chatwin issued an apology. He said, sorry for our terrible adaptation. He also created the artwork for several video games. He did the artwork and the character designs for Chrono Trigger, Dragon Quest, and then there was other video games based on Dragon Ball. And I played a bunch of them, and I introduced a lot of my friends and family to Dragon Ball through video games and watching some of the anime and cartoons with them. I used to play Budokai Tenkaichi. Actually, I have the whole Budokai 1 through 3, and then Tenkaichi 1 through 3, and then there was Xenoverse and several, a ton of other ones. I have so many different shirts I still wear to this day. I have a whole playlist. I'm not just gonna shamelessly promote the thing. I just wanted you to know how I've been in for the long haul with this, and I have so many videos about my collection because it inspired me in such a big way. I'm also an artist, and some of you know, he's been a big influence on my art. I actually started with Dragon Ball Z. I didn't start with the original Dragon Ball, and when I saw the character Piccolo split apart from himself while training and fought himself and then rejoined himself, I was like, wow, this is really interesting and unique. It wasn't something I'd really seen before, the style of animation and doing action a certain way. And when you look into the comics, I've actually got one here. The way that things are drawn is very, very interesting. The action lines are very interesting to me. Like the way that he drew things was so interesting. The actions and the the weird lines on the pages. I found that very, very, very interesting and influential. I never, before I started getting into it, I didn't understand the character designs. I thought they were kind of odd looking, and they are kind of odd looking and silly. But it's the story, it's the characters, it's the humanity in it that really kind of got me. It's all about, protecting people and getting stronger and being the best person you can be, protecting your family and and power, and how do you I don't know. It's hard to explain, but there's a lot to it that really influenced me. Here's the oldest drawing of Goku that I ever did, as far as I can tell. I think that's the oldest drawing I ever did, and here's the newest one that I did. And I just recently made like a big poster of Goku's different forms and stuff. I found some of my old sketchbooks. I want to show you guys. So like the evolution of my drawing has gone like super super old school. I was doing big bold lines and goofy looking stuff. Like some of it sort of worked, but back in the day I was just sort of big old ass sketchbooks, messed up sides. This is from like middle school or early high school. Like I just over time I spent so much time trying to figure out, because it was, I don't know, there was something magical in these in the story, the way that he did things, he drew things, and like I can barely do it justice, because it was so interesting, and it just, like, I don't know, it inspired me, because it just, I don't know, there was something to it. And yeah, I've got so many of those, and it sort of helped refine my style. Practicing, kind of trying to make the characters kind of look the way that he did them. It even influences things today, like still influencing things. I just started watching this podcast, and these people merged Hulk Hogan with Goku. I just got this shirt like a few months ago. It's the Hulk Hogan Goku Hulku Hogokugen or whatever. It's like from a new podcast where they were just talking about it and making it a part of their, it's a part of history. It's a part of the zeitgeist, man. He was a fairly reclusive person. He didn't like to be out in public all that much. Didn't like a lot of pictures taken of him. When he would write himself into stories, he would draw himself as a small robot-looking kind of guy with like a gas mask on. So like you still didn't know what he looked like. And one of his old stories, Dr. Slump, actually tied in with old Dragon Ball cartoon episodes. Little kid Goku traveled into a place, and he ended up in Penguin Village, which is where the Dr. Slump people exist. Goku's character from Dragon Ball was based on Sun Wukong from Journey to the West, Monkey King also. So if you see Monkey King or Sun Wukong, he's Son Goku. I've been collecting this stuff for a very, very long time. It became a huge part of my life. I've always collected stuff. It used to be Ninja Turtles and Batman and Spider-Man and Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. And then eventually I found Dragon Ball, and that became the new thing that I wanted to collect. And I've been doing it for many, many years, and I still plan on collecting more. Many years ago, I decided I wanted to start getting in shape, and I would exercise listening to music videos, Dragon Ball Z music videos. They inspired me, and I would exercise. I would do push-ups and sit-ups and shadow boxing and stuff, trying to get myself in shape. And I'd be listening to, some of them were like fan-made AMV music videos. They got me pumped up. I got in better shape than I am now. Dragon Ball GT was an interesting ththing for me, because when Dragon Ball Z ended, I thought that was the last we were ever going to get, and it had a great ending. If you can hear people talk bad about GT all they want, but if you see that ending, it was a pretty respectful ending for the character of Goku. I never thought we'd get anything else, but then they brought back Dragon Ball Super, and it's doing very well right now. There is a new guy doing I don't know exactly like all that he's doing. I don't know if he's writing the story as well as drawing, but Toyotaro, this new person, Toyotaro, is doing a lot of the drawing and maybe the story. I'm not totally sure. And there is a lot of manga that is not animated yet, so we already have some stuff that Toriyama was involved in that hasn't come out to animation yet. There's an interesting comparison between Goku and Superman. I know, blasphemy, right? No, it's similar, because they were on a dying planet, a planet that was about to be destroyed, and sent by their parents to a new planet where they would become the savior of the planet, basically, sent in a space pod. But this isn't just about Dragon Ball. It's about him and his influence on on culture, not just Japanese culture, America, the entire world. Everybody all over the world knows about his influence on comics and TV shows and anime and video games, and he's had a huge influence on my life and many other people's lives. And one of my best friends I met at a bar one time because I saw he was wearing a Dragon Ball shirt, and I struck up a conversation, and now he's one of my best friends. I'm sure there's so many other things that I forgot to say. I will just end and say I appreciate his work and his influence on the world and on my life and my art. So anyway, safe travels on your journey to the other side, Akira Toriyama. Or should I say Akira Toriyama Sensei. Thank you for all that you've done, your art and your influence, and rest in peace, sir.
Till we meet again, guys!